building a connected community of entrepreneurs. This is Business Rockstars.
Larry Page, co-founder of Google, says, co-founder of Alphabet. He says, always deliver more than expected. He's right. And again, it's called Alphabet because they have a ton of companies that are in their alpha mode right at the beginning, and they're making a huge bet on them. Alphabet. Thank you, Mr. Page. Ken Rutkowski, connecting you to everything entrepreneur, businessrockstars.com. See what's happening in the studio right now because we stream the show live. I think I have a kind Canadian joining me right now. First, you have a big law firm, right?
No, I'm a talent acquisition professional.
What does that mean?
I'm actually a lawyer by background.
No, because you walked in, I thought you were a lawyer. You looked at me with those lawyer eyes. Not anymore. You look like what's the name
I'm
of your
a
firm?
recovering lawyer. The name of my company is Rosenzweig and Company. And what we do is we help companies design, build, and attract world-class teams. That's what we do.
Well, you came in at the highest recommendation level. Do you know who brought you in here?
My main man, Ken?
Yeah. Well, I'm the Ken. No, Ken Craig brought you in. When Ken brings you in, that's it. You know, all doors open wherever Ken goes after.
Well, he's my secret weapon.
In what way?
Well, you know, he's connected me to all kinds of fascinating people at the end of the day.
But you're looking for talent.
I am.
How do you define talent?
So talent has different levels. And what I see in my market is leadership talent. Our clients ask us to find leaders for their businesses, to take their businesses to new heights.
Get right in the microphone, a little closer.
A little closer?
There you go. But give me some definitions of talent a little more. It's a bit nebulous, that word.
So I look at talent maybe a little bit differently from others.
That's good.
And what I found in 2015 is there are certain characteristics that leaders need in order to take companies to new levels. Humility is one example of a characteristic that I find to be extremely compelling when I interview a candidate. If a leader tells me that they give credit to their team for having had the successes they've had, that's interesting to me. If they talk about tailwinds that they had in terms of market conditions that helped them have successes, that's interesting to me as well. If they give credit to their predecessors, I like to hear that because
But I'm hearing that more now as leaders are becoming more defined from the communities they're part of. Those newer communities, that's what they're crafting. Are leaders that know it's team driven, right? It's everybody. It's the we, not the I. It's we're all in it together.
Absolutely.
Aren't we hearing that more and more often now?
We're hearing that more and more often, but I don't know if talent acquisition professionals are looking for those characteristics to marry the business strategy and the market realities of today. When I interview a candidate, I don't want to hear them talk about only themselves. I want to know that they have a certain level of humility, or its cousin, modesty. Because if they have that humility, then you know that when they're looking at an opportunity, it's not all about themselves.
But when you're hiring somebody or looking at a potential candidate, you want to know that they were the catalyst to make changes. So
Absolutely.
They have to be that bright star, correct?
100%.
So in most cases, it's still, unfortunately, and I don't want to be egocentric, it is them that is driving that team to come together. They're that glue.
Absolutely. They have to have a certain level of ego and self-assuredness, especially I know a lot of people in your audience are considering doing startups or they're in the midst of grinding through startups. You have to have that healthy ego, but at the same time, the great leaders understand that it can't all be about themselves. At a certain point in time, they need people around them to complement them. They can't do it all on their own. So the true leaders and the truly successful leaders that I've seen are the ones that realize that there's a certain point in time when you need to ask for help. And I see that as a strength and not a weakness.
So you're from Toronto, the fourth biggest city in North America. It would be one of the coolest cities of part of the United States. Just to let you know, it's an awesome city.
Go Blue Jays.
That means nothing to me. But okay, I'm not sure. What is that? Is that a baseball team, football team, hockey?
Our baseball team is on the way to the top.
I'm from Chicago, so that means nothing to me what you just said. But if you look at Canadians compared to U.S., there is a different, I would say, aggressiveness or assertiveness when it comes to business. Do you agree with me on that?
I think it's always tough to generalize.
I am going to generalize.
And to paint a broad brush across a complete country.
No, but let me just do this because I've been preparing for this hour speech I'm giving next week at Techtoberfest, okay? And I looked at Canadians, and I'm talking about startups, compared to people from San Francisco. So I'm looking at the Toronto, London, Ontario area compared to San Francisco, Santa Clara, and San Jose. Okay, and I compared the differences, okay? And I looked at writing styles of executives is what I did. And what I saw in write-on styles of executives was in San Francisco, there was more I and very egocentric movement of the powerful executives in the San Francisco area, like a Jason or a Travis Kalanick of Uber. Okay. He does talk about the team, but he does talk about his mission and where he sees the company. In your part of the world, Toronto, London, and Ontario, I saw more we and us and how all of us and them and the team is going to make things happen. It was less egocentric. It was more team-centric. Now, I like what I saw more in Ontario and Toronto, not Ontario, Ontario, London, and Ottawa, and Toronto than I did in San Francisco. I have to say that.
Right.
But there's more dynamic growth going on in the Bay Area than there is in Toronto. Do you see that?
I do see perhaps a little bit more of an understated approach within the Canadian executive ranks. We're often doing searches which are North American-wide and global. So it's very fascinating to see individuals from various cultures and from various countries and how they approach business and how they approach leadership. There's no doubt about it. But there's a bit of a crossover as well. You see a number of Canadians crossing south of the border, doing a bunch of work south of the border, as am I. And you know, the head of McKinsey and Company is a Canadian, just as an example, and has been able to succeed marvelously. It's just a little bit of a different style, and I'd probably acknowledge that with pride.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, since he has taken over, McKinsey's actually done quite well.
Yeah,
it's become more of a team as opposed to separate players and separate offices all over the place. So he's actually done a great job for McKinsey. So I'm just going to let you know, I think your approach on looking for talent is the better approach. And if I'm looking for talent, I'm going to hire your firm to bring in the right talent to be working with.
Well, that's great.
People want to find out more, where do they go? What's the website?
www.rosenzweigco.com.